so much for staying with Daybreak. The discussion was going on even during the break, but now let's get into the politics of it. Election loss, not a big deal. So this is exactly what Raila said after the by-elections in Ugenya and Embakasi South. Listen.
There are no issues at all in ODM. There are no differences in our party. The two by-elections are really like a drop of water in the ocean. ODM remains a very strong and united party. People may be commenting here and there, and that's their democratic rights. Elections are won or lost. So the fact that somebody has lost an election is not a big deal.
Rose, I'll start with you. Was this a test?
I'll start with me. Honorable Raila Odinga is spot on.
Do you agree with him?
Oh, I do.
ODM lost in by-elections.
We lost.
That is not a litmus test to you. No, it's not a sign of things to come in.
No. It's a party does not wind up because it has lost elections.
But it shows it's losing grip.
But a party can take losing elections as an experience and a learning process. And that is what ODM is doing. It does not mean that ODM is now weak because ODM lost elections lost the seat in Ugenya. Remember, the seat in Embakasi was not ODM's, it was a Wiper seat. And we were trying to get it, just like any other party was trying to get it. But we did not succeed. But in Ugenya, that was an ODM seat, and we should have actually retained it, but we did not. But we are using it as a learning process because probably our strategies were not right. Probably we did things that did not appeal to the people, and that's why we lost. So we are not going to wind up because we lost an election in Ugenya.
Isn't that the concern? Probably you didn't do things that people appeal to the people, and now
and that is why we are saying that we are using it as a learning process, and we are going to learn from it and improve from out of it. Isn't that what Raila is saying?
So for you, this is no big deal?
No. Do you expect us to wind up that now ODM lost an election in Ugenya, so ODM is no more? That is not how a serious political party like ODM behaves. Because there are cases where we've even won seats that were had been occupied by other parties.
Honorable Ugenya, I see you laughing at this.
No, first, I would really like to thank the people of Embakasi for voting Mawathe back and my Wiper party. You know, ODM is our sister or brother.
Or big brother, like it's been accused of being.
We see, we did not expect ODM to really fight us in Embakasi because that was our seat. But you know, it was friendly fire. And we won. And I want to thank the people of Embakasi. I want to, let me tell, let us not go there. let us not go there. It was a seat. That was a seat for Mawathe won the seat. Fine, we went to the court did what it did, and we came back, and the people of Embakasi made their decision. They say, this is the person we elected, and this is the person we wanted, and they brought back a Wiper person. And they should not just make at the ODM and Wiper fight. You know, there's a future. There are a lot of things that we are looking at in this country, and people should not just fight over small things. You know, that one is done, it is done. Congratulations to Wiper. Let us move on.
Honorable Deti, on that same breath, a lot of the quote-unquote smaller parties, Wiper and say Ford Kenya, feel as
Wiper is not a smaller party.
Quote-unquote, yes.
No, but I cannot tell you, Wiper is not a small party.
It is not.
Wiper has senators, it has MPs, it has members of parliament.
Right.
But
it
has
MCS. Okay, so ANC, Ford and Wiper feel as if ODM has sidelined them, has bullied them and put them on the sideline. Do you agree with that? Do you feel the same way?
You know, let me tell you, me, I don't see anything. You know, Wiper is independent. Wiper is a party on its own. So let us not start, you know, let people now chant their way forward.
How was ODM sidelined? Remember, any political party worth its salt strives to get power. How do you get power in this country? By having more representation in parliament and in the elective positions. So whether we are in NASA or what, we have single parties forming the family of NASA. And at no particular time did we say that we've killed our ambition to arise to power because we are in a family of NASA.
Right.
Each individual party aspires to get to that power. Otherwise, you'd better not be a political party.
And let me tell
remember,
you, Honorable Kalonzo
within these political parties, you have individual aspirations. Each politician has their own aspirations, but within a political party.
Okay.
So, for example, if Honorable Sumra had felt that there was something that had gone wrong and he had a chance of going back to a by-election, if to have the wrong corrected by us going back to a by-election, you cannot curtail or kill his individual aspiration as an individual because we are in a coalition. So he had that right and he had that opportunity to go back for a re-election, but the people of Embakasi decided that they had elected Honorable Mawathe and they still wanted him to finish his 5-year term.
If you ask me, this was just friendly fire.
Okay.
You understand? Well, Raila was campaigning on the other side.
Yes.
We were campaigning on the other side.
Yeah.
ODM was on the other side. We were on the same day.
Yes.
We were all in Embakasi. They were campaigning on the other side. We were on the other side. And what happens? Wiper takes the day. Okay. So I don't think we should, you know, make a mountain.
Not a big deal.
It's not a big deal.
Well, first of all,
it is not a big deal.
We won. Wiper.
I look at the whole process and I'm like, if indeed by-elections were to now define your destiny of a main election, then we are wrong, because Jubilee lost all by-elections in 2016, 2015 when we were doing Kajiado, and we were in power. But we lost them. We lost all. ODM used to win hands down. But yet we were government and they were opposition. And we never looked at it. So for Jubilee, again, to close their eyes and start saying, this can define us. Why didn't it define us when we were going to Kilifi for the seat in Malindi? Why didn't it define us at that time to tell us, these are the times we will see now as winning? But in the end, we came, and now in the real election, it was different. So for me, the by-elections are very interesting elections, first of all. And that's why you look at the turnout, the voter turnout and all that. The best thing and let us not rubbish everything. I will tell you for free, the best thing the former Prime Minister did was not to go to Ugenya and campaign. And I remember we were here pleading with him, do not go to Ugenya and campaign. I think he only went for a burial somewhere where he spoke, but he never took his time to go on that ground to campaign, meaning he said, let me leave it for them now to fight it. For Embakasi Central, I mean, when you look at Mawathe, even by the time they were coming to the main general election, didn't they fight it with Sumra? So what is the difference? The good thing that happened for me is now for Sumra being shown, this indeed is and for us Jubilee to leave, we decided we will support Mawathe because we knew, let us also agree, ethnically, that constituency is really Kamba. So you want to tell the Kambas they'll wake up and here vote for Sumra?
So are you trying to tell us Kambas must vote for Kambas?
No.
Indians must vote for Indians?
Let us not
Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Rosa, let us not pretend here in Kenya. Let us not.
I don't think that's right.
Pretend in Kenya that we can wake up and lie to ourselves that you can just wake up and go to Central. And I'm from Western.
And can I say something?
So we still vote along.
Can I tell you?
There's
something I want to say. Mawathe was not voted by Kambas alone.
No, that's what I want to say. With Kikuyus also. But I'm just saying,
let me
and I don't want anyone to deny here, because this is what is killing us.
Mawathe was voted.
If you want to deal with ethnic
I want to make that very clear.
Let us not deny that.
Okay.
All right.
I want to make that very clear. Mawathe was voted by, in fact, the 42 tribes of Kenya that are there. It was not just Kamba, the community, even the Luos, the Kisis, the Kikuyus,
but
all the tribes. Let me finish. All the tribes. All the tribes in Embakasi voted for Mawathe. And you know what? I know that because sometimes when they train, I have people who we would put in the trains, going to Embakasi. You would hear all of them, whether Luo, Kikuyu, Kisi, saying that they are going to vote for Mawathe.
So
let's not bring the Kamba. Yes, the Kamba. There's a majority. We are the majority.
Look at the MCAs, you will
we are the majority. We are the majority. We are the majority in Embakasi. But I want to say, and I want to thank all the tribes of Kenya because they all voted Mawathe.
Honorable Shakil Shabir is an Asian, yes? I mean, of Asian origin. Just hold it. And around 5 people contested against him in the general election. In Kisumu East constituency, we don't have any other Asian living there, but he was elected.
Right.
Preferred over those 5 indigenous participants. You have a case in Meru where you have another Asian elected. You have another case in Rift Valley where you have an Asian elected basically from rural constituencies that are inhabited by locals, by local whatever. Right. So what I'm trying to say is, this issue that Mawathe had to win because 80% of the people are Kambas, that is not the reason why he won.
But is it a reality on the ground that Kenyans still vote?
Kambas are majority. Let me tell you, if that's a reality, let me tell you, I don't want to hear about Kamba, because it's not just the Kamba community.
Yes.
And we need to be very clear.
And when they voted Sumra, Kambas were already
we are women, we are women here, let us not be tribal, eh?
Okay.
I don't understand.
It's not a tribal
thing. But what I'm saying is not tribal. But
one at a time, so we all have our opinion.
I see where we are going.
Right.
And we should not go there.
Okay.
You understand? How do we
Let
me finish.
Okay.
I see where we are going. Okay. I see where the conversation is going. And for me, I wouldn't want to go there.
Okay.
Yeah? Because I was in Embakasi. I know all the tribes in Embakasi voted for Mawathe. Okay. Because number one, the first year that he was there, he really made changes. Right. They would tell us themselves what Mawathe has done for them.
Right. Let me rope in Sylvia. Honorable Sylvia, if you look at these elections, and this is a question that I tabled to our your male colleagues yesterday, a male panelist. Do you think that our presidential elections should be different from governor, senator, women rep, MPs, etc., just as they do in Nigeria? So 2 different elections, presidency and this other seat. Beatrice Elachi, you've given a clear example that you begged Raila Odinga to go campaign, but he didn't. So you've seen how that could have had
No, I told him never to step.
Never to do
If you are real talking about handshake, then you don't need to be these petty things, because people will just put mud on you for nothing.
Do you think we should take the Nigerian route, presidential elections and this on 2 different elections?
Yes, and let me tell you, when you look at 2017, and the impact that election had on our economy, then you know we need to do things absolutely differently. And it was not just 1, it was 2 for whatever reason, but even just that 1, the cost of that to our economy, if you talk to anyone running business today, they will tell you we took such a hit that to this day, we have barely even begun to recover. We must do our elections differently. We are putting too much into it when it is wholesome as it is. It is too much. We have to break it up. We have to do it the way the Nigerians, the way the Americans do it. Yes, it is a cycle they do every 2 years in America, but it is better for handling on the impact on the economy.
Do you think IBC can deliver 2 different elections?
Of course, they can. They delivered 2 elections in 2017. They can. And it's a question of being organized. It's not even a question of resources. In this country, we have money. How are we using this money is a question. How are we accounting for the activities that we do is a question. Like I said beginning, how deeply do we interrogate issues? Those people who are assigned with these offices, how deeply do they interrogate the details? We are very able people in this country. Let me tell you, very able. And let me just comment on the by-election of Embakasi, because I am Wiper, and of course you can imagine we are celebrating. But the sad thing on my part, the way I look at it, is that it was an election that did need to happen in the spirit of handshake. You know, our party leader did try and impress upon, ODM, leave this seat. This is Mawathe's seat. But no, there is democracy. It saddened me that actually the party leader of ODM, Honorable Raila Odinga, went to campaign. I thought that was probably not necessary, because it's a democratic country. If at all Sumra felt the need that he must go and check the ground again, just in case, the party leaders should have left him to go. But in the spirit of handshake, the way Jubilee did, I would have expected that, Jubilee stepped down and said, you guys...
Is handshake supposed to kill democracy?
That's what should have, not. That's what should have happened. I would have expected that. And I think that's why the tongues are really wagging.
But it was our seat to win. Take away any right from any individual.
It was our seat to win, and it was won.
One at a time.
It was won, and we are happy about it. We say it is God's deed, because it was his seat anyway, and we are happy about it.
But let me talk about Ugenya. I want to thank David. He was my candidate. And for me, David, when we were in Parliament, we went to Ugenya. That man had worked for Ugenya. In fact, when he lost, I asked myself, so what do Kenyans want? this is a man who brought development in Ugenya. You would go and feel proud that you want to be an MP, that CDF indeed works.
Yeah.
So for me, Ugenya, I want to thank them that they looked at development and said, this is the man we want to, for him to come. And then when you look at even how he lost, the votes, you could ask yourself, that was a really competitive seat at the time of the main elections, because David lost with very less. And I know many of the MPs, even some in ODM, were supporting, were feeling, by the way, David has worked in Ugenya. But you know, because of the party position, you have to stand with your party. For me, I didn't want to make Wiper feel it is wrong, but you know I like facts. I'll bring them the register.
Okay.
Another good thing with IEBC, we have now the register.
No, but we know we are the majority. I'm not saying
so that they don't feel I say they are tribal.
Ladies, one
so that we kill that and we deal with that situation. That let us start thinking as women that this tribal clique, how are we going to help ourselves to come out of the ethnic catch? When you're a woman and married somewhere, how does Sicily embrace to show us you can still vie in Runyenjes and you're married in Teso? What about if she goes to Teso? How does Mutua help us to show that indeed in this country we can go for an election and they won't look at your tribe? It's very important.
Point made, Honorable
I just
Sylvia.
wanted to just reinforce a little bit on the question that you asked on separating our and breaking down our election, cycle and introducing maybe another, 2-year cycle or 2-3-year cycle where we vote in governors, then we go and vote in MPs, and that sort of a thing. And I want to say that we need to reach a place in this country with our new constitution, which is beautiful, but we need to reach a place where we can secure business away from the election cycle. Because what it is doing right now is killing us. It's killing us completely. And that's why we have so many issues, because we are trying to deal with elections and we have to stop everything and look at election because it's so big and it affects business. And then by the time you're even beginning the cycle of business, you're already back again plotting and planning 2022. So nobody is working. We need to reach that place.
All right. Honorable Bui, Sylvia brought out something very interesting there about the handshake.
Yes,
before the handshake, the opposition was looking for electoral reforms. Is everything okay now? Now you don't care about electoral reforms anymore?
No. First of all,
irreducible minimums are done.
Can I clear my point with that handshake comment, first of all, before I respond to you?
Yes.
Handshake does not kill democracy. Handshake does not take away rights of individuals to vie or not to vie. So to say that Raila should not have gone to Embakasi to campaign because of handshake, that is utter nonsense. Raila is the head or the party leader of ODM, a party that aspires to strengthen itself politically and to take power. So just like Raila, Kalonzo also had a right to vote, to campaign for his party. So there is no problem with that, and that does not affect handshake in any way. Again, for David Ochieng, I think what he did that ODM did not do well was in a by-election, the determining or the big determining factor is how many of your supporters turn out to vote. And I think what he did better than ODM was to whip his supporters to come out and vote through the strategies that he used in reaching out his supporters. And he carried the day, and I'm happy for him. When it comes to Mawathe, I'm also happy that Mawathe won. But I'd like to say that in this same constituency, remember Sumra was the last MP. Kambas were still in this constituency even if they were 80%. There were still other, but Sumra was elected. So coming up to say that Mawathe was elected because of Kamba, I don't think that holds too much water in that cosmopolitan constituency, because Sumra has served in that constituency before, despite the fact that he was an of Asian origin, and despite the fact that Kambas were still the majority. Now, when you're talking about the handshake, and wondering if reforms, we've stopped talking about electoral reforms, you need to go back and see what it is that formed that handshake. The different things that were discussed when that handshake was being undertaken. Electoral reforms and justice is one of the items. So it is not out of our agenda as the opposition, except that we are not going to go on the streets to fight for it now. You can skin a cat through many different ways. And fighting on the street was just one way. But we've now taken a different way in order to try to get the electoral reforms and justice on board.
Okay. And although BBI's recommendations, what they're getting from the people, electoral reforms is not top of their priority. Their top of their priority is food security, corruption, electoral reforms. Maybe there was data creation of the position.
Yes, and if you're talking about injustices, etc., we are saying that this or the peace or lack of peace, we are saying that what happens during our elections every 5 years is a big contributor to the injustices or to the violence or to the lack of peace that we experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honorable Wavinya, you wanted to comment on this as well?
No, I just wanted to conclude on the Mawathe.
Yeah.
Mawathe won, Sumra accepted that he was defeated, and they are moving on. So me, I think we should just let this...
and Sumra was magnanimous.
Okay.
But he came out and said, you know,
we need to take another break. When we come back.
And we thank the people of Embakasi for voting in Mawathe.
All right, that's the position of Wiper. We need to take a short break here on Daybreak. When we come back, we go to page 5 of the Daily Nation. Why Uhuru is losing Mount Kenya MPs to Ruto and whether he's losing grip. Is it